welcome to another painting discourse. Welcome to my studio. I'm going to be working on ongoing project today. It's the one that I started probably roughly at the beginning of the year, perhaps. It's a fragment from the bigger painting that I'm working on, which is Cyril and Methodius. It's a history painting with two main protagonists or characters from Constantinople. They came to my country with idea to create a language. If you're more interested in the history about them, you should definitely check them out, because their endeavors and achievements are really interesting. I also talk about this a little bit on my previous streams, so if you want to check that out, you can as well. There are very few actually dates and solid, timelines and the way how they travel or the path that they took. But nevertheless, we know that the path was definitely arduous, difficult, rather to say, and dangerous, and they probably endure a lot of pain, I would say, on that way. So that's basically what I'm trying to work with this painting, and with this fragment we're just simply experimenting with the different ideas. Last week I was talking about more detail in the composition with the bed painting Friday. It's just a very simple concept of painting two vegetables. Actually, it's a red and green tomato. One is ripe and one is still green. So I don't want to spend that much time today with the composition, but again, I'm going to keep composition as my main focus, because that's the only thing that really truly gives a meaning to my paintings. It's not necessarily let me rephrase this. Not everyone will agree with me, and that's okay. That's part of that painting discourse. Some artists or painters prefer to work with color and that kind of a arrangement. Some prefer to work with tone, and the tone, it's the main idea. Some prefer for the realism, and they found the meaning in actually detailed work. These are all valid. They're all equal. I would never suggest that one is better than the other. It's the preference. I prefer to work with composition. I really delve into the different ways how to approach it. I might be repeating myself over and over again, but it's the idea of reminding myself more than anything else that okay, this what the priority is, and if you do not go through that checklist of priorities that you have, and you're not putting composition all the way up on the top of that list, you're probably struggling with and I'm talking about myself in almost a third person. It's just my own personal reminder about different ideas within a composition that I am trying to create. And then all that, it's because I want to communicate the certain ideas with the viewer. So the closer I'm getting towards that overall message that I want to communicate through the composition, the better I feel about the painting. It's not necessarily about that, paint application or technique or how does it look incredibly convincing, because I don't think that you should be really limited, or you shouldn't limit yourself with trying to get better at painting while sacrificing that message that you want to communicate. We have a plenty, gazillions examples where that the message is a little bit more important than the actual execution. And if you once be able to create artwork as complete and fulfilling as, in my opinion, Rembrandt, because he really works with the composition, he works with the message, he works with the feeling, and he is incorporating it into his artwork successfully. But I believe that, and probably later in his life and later in his work, the most important part was that, that I want to paint this way and I want to communicate this message with the viewer. So I'm going to paint however I feel. He was not catering to any clients anymore, and I believe that he died broke, almost without the money, which when you think about his legacy that he left and the amount of painting that he created, it's almost scary to think that people like Rembrandt ended their life as poor as they can get. So, and it might be also partially to the mismanaging his wealth and so on and so forth. But nevertheless, yeah, excuse me. Nevertheless, that it's an important message to. It was an important message for me to receive from his work. I don't want to really go again. I don't want to trail off from the painting. I just don't want to, start a conversation, and separate conversation about the Rembrandt, because this is not what this is about. This is about painting and mistakes that I do throughout that painting process, and the exploration and the journey that it's part of that finished piece. That being said, do not watch this video, because this is not the video for just sitting and being entertained. I'm really not adequate person for that kind of a job. Rather, do not waste your time just sitting and watching and hoping that this is going to give you any or this video will add any value to your actual painting skills. The only way how you can increase or upgrade your painting skills is actually to paint. There is no other way to do so yet. Maybe in the future someone will come up with some great idea of how to, I don't know, maybe download that file with how to paint and you'll be able to do it. It's not possible yet at this moment, as far as I know. So ideally, just put this onto as your background when you're working. I'm not going to be how would be the proper word? I'm not going to be insulted by that, because actually this work that I'm doing, it's more. It has educational purpose in terms of I'm trying to educate myself and I'm trying to share that ideas or the discoveries throughout this process with you. And also, very important thing is that I would appreciate if you have some thoughts or comments and you would join to that painting discourse. The ideal form would be writing an essay that will point out certain things. I'm not really a fan of just quick comments, because they don't. And you might have this, you might experience this rather in your own life or in your own journey through the art or through your school, that putting together coherent idea, either it's a written or spoken word, it's really difficult, and it kind of forces you to really think through what you're going to say or what you're going to write. Same goes for painting, in my opinion and in my own experience, that I treat this as a concept, but not that kind of a concept that cannot be reworked, right? So nothing is set on stone here. You saw me moving a shoulder last time. You saw me moving things back and forth, especially legs. You can watch previous videos about the legs and my frustration with the legs and feet and the positions, or the arm or the book. You can name it. And probably I'm going to be working today on that, on this portrait in the background, because I might have. I have some ideas, not might have, I have some ideas how to improve that overall message that I want to communicate, or overall idea that I want to communicate. And again, I went on tangent and I forgot what I was talking about. So see, do not really watch this and rather work alongside with me. So get your pencils, pen, brushes, paints, canvases, digital medium, tablets, pens, digital pens, so on and so forth. Clay, perhaps, for those of you who work with sculptures, or if you are a writer, there is probability that you might even be actually interested in this discourse as well, because it's mostly about the creativity. So let's just work on that creative process, and let's work together. And I'm working on my work, and simultaneously I hope that you work on your projects. Not at hope, I wish you that you have that option. So let's not waste time anymore with listening to my rants on different topics, because they are completely free. I don't have anything scripted necessarily, and sometimes I really go on tangents that I don't even know if they're important. No, I know that they're not important. I don't think that they have any actually scientific value. It's kind of interesting to then listen to myself talking about stuff that maybe I shouldn't. So there are few things that I would like to point out that the light conditions are different again. I have a really strong sunlight outside, even though the sun is not directly actually shining into my studio, because I'm towards the kind of a north-west kind of a orientation with the building and the windows. But since I am in the historic city or historic center of the city, I have buildings there directly across, and they are kind of yellowish, orangish. So, and they are like really clean and freshly painted, because that's one of the main things that you have to follow here in the historic center. You have to care about the facade. Whatever is happening inside is not that important, but the facade needs to be nice. presentable. So all these facades they have a really nice bright colors, and the sun, it's actually being reflected off of these walls, and whole my studio feels like that, like, you know, like a whale of orange a light here. So I have to think about this, because then I'm going to overcompensate for that strong warmth that's coming into my studio, and it might not destroy it, but influence the overall color harmony. So think about this, especially when you work with traditional medium, when you work with oil paints, and you work under the natural light. I personally love that, the changes and shifts, because they are they're kind of a these shifts and changes in the light source works like a filters. So you know, some of you might do or some of you might take a pictures of your painting and then, you know, put different filters on it. You know, probably the most used would be a black and white filter when you're really looking for the tone and differences between the tone, whether you want something darker or lighter, and if it's worked tonally. But you can then apply different, you know, filters, like a, you know, like a, I don't know, orange filter or green filter or blue filter. Depends on a preference. So right now I have like a warm, yellowish, orangish, warmish filter there. That is highly saturated because the sun is really strong right now, and but it's okay. We're gonna definitely continue working. Like I said, I just have to be mindful about that really orange, yellow-orange warm light, so I don't overcompensate for that. All right, so let's look at this. I have a couple things that I want to address today. I don't know how much time I will have or how far I can get with these, but perhaps I could work on this figure a little bit more, that it's right here. I worked on the portrait a little bit. I can immediately see that he's starting to get more into focus. Of course, there is plenty of work there. Don't get me wrong. There's I need a couple hours to work on the portrait in relation to other portraits there, and the composition as well. But right now, I finally right now I have a clearer idea of what needs to be done. And every another pass, every another additional step, or every another additional detail that I'm going to put into this painting is going to get me closer to finish. And I think that I don't want to go into completely finished part of the portrait. I want to keep it as it is right now. The nose is forming nice. I have a cheeks there. I worked with a little bit. It's still very sticky, or sticky, not very sticky. It's just, you know, some areas. Depends on the pigment that I use. But I don't want to go further yet. I worked on the framing of his face. Right now, I want to deal with this guy a little bit. Maybe put something here to keep him in that kind of a, I don't want to say a finished state, but right now he's really roughly placed there. I mean, I just put the rough brush strokes at the end of the painting session last time, and he right now kind of look unfinished like this guy. So I want to maybe push it a little bit more towards the finish. I'm not sure if I will be able to finish it completely, and even though I would have a feeling of that it's finished, it will again, it's going to be working against unfinished rest of the painting. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking that I could, do. And then again, I can test here, whatever maybe I want to use or deal with here in the focal point, or actually I should say here in the focal point. So yeah. So let's do that. Okay. The glove is on, almost. Now it is. And you know what's happening when the gloves are on. It's a painting time. So let's grab my charcoal brush. Excuse me. This is still a little sticky. This is completely dry. This is sticky. Okay, all right, cool. So let me find some references for I want to maybe clean it up a little bit, and by clean it up I mean scrape that paint a little bit. Something is in my excuse me. So I'm just scraping, not necessarily paint from the canvas. What I'm actually doing, I'm trying to soften. Soften is probably not the right word either. I'm trying to get rid of unwanted texture. That's what I'm doing actually. And I have multiple ways to do it. Right now I'm using just a palette knife. You can do you can use razor blade. You can use sandpaper, which is probably one of my favorite ways to do this. Right, but you always have to be careful with what kind of, which stage your painting is in, right? So you see that these areas are around here, especially, they are fairly wet still. So instead of me just, going there with sandpaper, which would create more problems that solve, I'm just using the palette knife and I'm kind of, scraping the excess paint from there. All right. Yep. So that will be that. Cool. Yeah, it's still a little tacky. And then I'm thinking about the color, the hue rather. I have a group of guys that are almost the same. They're color harmonized. Actually, they're not even color harmonized. This and this and this is the same, almost the same pigment, or at least it looks like the same pigment. And it feels right now in my head when I'm looking at that these guys are disconnected from these guys, and I'm not sure if I like it or I dislike it. And I was thinking perhaps I could just make this right here slightly warmer. So it would give me that, I would kind of incorporated that we have a kind of a two types of of clothes, we have a darker, we have a lighter variant, and then we have a darker, and then lighter, and then darker again. So I want to push that, composition. I want to harmonize it and unify it simultaneously. But I want to keep the variety. So instead of, changing all of their clothes to dark value, I'm just going to make that, I'm going to randomize it a little bit. And then, I was thinking that then I can continue with that kind of idea all the way back with my sketch that goes all the way here. So let's see. Okay, I was replying to a chat. Yeah, maybe I could just quickly dry brush there, or dry brush, maybe I can just, well, am I going to scumble, or am I going to, I'm going to scumble on top of it, or maybe a little bit of both. And then thinking that that kind of a orangish, brownish fabric, the idea of that orange-brown fabric that I have in my head, or dark brown is actually orange, right? So that's what I have in my head, is that if, and this is a color theory, since I'm working from imagination, I have to, help myself a little bit. So I'm thinking that I could really push him, since he is not going to be a focal point and he's receding in the back, so I can do orange, and on top of it I can bring some, cooler, maybe purplish kind of a hue feel to it, so he would recede a little bit to your background, because right now he almost feels that is on the same plane than they are, but he's supposed to be in the middle ground, right? They are foreground, he's the middle ground, and these guys are background. So maybe if I push it a little bit towards that, to move from the warmth that I hit there, because I was I was mostly focusing on that value, and right now I feel that value is correct, the temperature is wrong. So I'll probably push it a little bit more into that kind of a purplish hue, and let's see what's going to happen, and perhaps that will help me to kind of show the difference between them as well. So that might be something to take into consideration for me while I'm going to be painting that figure there. Because I want to preserve that warm orange in the foreground, and I want to push him a little bit into the background. And I'm going to do that simultaneously while, adjusting certain things here. So hopefully that will. Maybe I can make him a little thinner, because I remember I was talking about this being unhappy with his size, that he looks kind of chubby. And there's nothing wrong with him being chubby, but like I mentioned, I want to create that feeling of what do you call the difficult journey that probably they were, burning more calories than their intake was on a daily basis. Yeah, that I think that that would be, because I'm looking at the different types of their, you know, the monk, kind of a, you know, the traditional. When you think about the monk, it's that, you know, that brownish, brownish orangish hue of that fabric. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's make him a little more. Okay. Should I give him also a little bit of that? Maybe I should. Maybe I should. Okay. Let's see. So since I mentioned that I want to work with that kind of a purple violet color, or hue rather, or yeah, I should say hue. That's probably the best example I'm even going to use. Could I maybe? There's so many different. There's so many different. What if I put it a little lower even? Right here. And then I would create a and then I would make him it would make him a little thinner. That might work. Okay. Well, I could push this idea. Why not? Yep. And right now I'm searching through the different references that I have for the kind of monk's cloak or whatever you want to call it, monks. And I have a bunch of Halloween costumes and actual monks and so on and so forth. So this might be actually. And they all have a, you know, something that I like in them, and something that I don't care about, but you know, I'm going to combine them all into one. I'll combine that into one costume, or you know, one image. So yeah, maybe I would have to move the hand a little bit closer towards his body. Let's see. And maybe instead of going, I'm thinking, because again, I'm copying this again right here in the same, you see, like I'm doing that implied line that goes through the whole painting, and I don't want that. So let me maybe change that a little bit. So it doesn't, you know, and again, this is the compositional part, very important part of the composition, that it has that, you know, as I talk about unity, but I need variety. I need you know, the little variations. So let me just get rid of this. Let me just get rid of this and maybe push it. And you can see me how I'm going back and forth, and that's the part where I feel that maybe I don't have necessarily, if I push it here, well, that might be cool. What if I, this way, and then it's going to go down right here. This is going to be the side. Like so, and then I can push this right here, and maybe I can show a little bit of his hand here. Maybe. I'm not saying that, you know, it's necessary, but maybe it will be cool. Maybe even a little closer. Maybe a little closer. But again, I don't want to create another, you know, another feel of, you know, just vertical, that verticality that, you know, I am annoyed with. So I have to start, you know, pushing these diagonals and horizontals as well. And then I can maybe push this right here. And then straight up here. Straight up here. Oops. So you can, you know, follow this in your own work. Well, I'm designing or composing within existing composition, and like always, I'm going to repeat myself. These adjustments are not about completely destroying something. It's more about improving. So maybe I can push this even more. Let me see. To make it a little more. And then perhaps as it turns here, that might be a little, or maybe I can go all the way here and then kind of back with that hoodie. Then maybe cover his hand completely. I don't know, I kind of like that. Well, I can always add it there or repaint it. So let me right now mix that outside color, which so, you know, even though it's a just be lighter. And with this background mixture, I'm really preparing for that kind of a, you can see me mixing in these purplish grays into it because I wanted to slowly transition into that background. Not a lot, but I want to keep that, you know, close to each other in temperature. So this is not going to jump out like crazy. Maybe I can use some of this here in his, where the light is hitting the garment the most. And then maybe you can even create here a little, you know, like a little streak of light. Because even though he's behind him, doesn't not necessarily means that he's not being influenced by the light. He is, obviously he is. So let me the blue into it. And you can see that I'm very close value. I'm shifting the temperature a little bit. Yeah, that's better. And the reason is because I want to really nail or lock in that outside shape. This needs to probably go lower down. Yeah, to make it a little lower. So let's do that. So it's gonna go this way and it's gonna go lower here. So let's make that adjustment. Yep. Yep. So it would be here, and then it would be a little shadow right here, and then I can push it this way. Cool. Let me just grab this baby. Actually, that might be better. Well, I'm surprised. I am pleasantly surprised. and then I'll push it a little bit more. This way, and then a little more here. Maybe adjust this a little bit. Okay. So let's maybe push a little lighter value right here. Now let's me do a little bit more of that. So what if I move shoulder a little bit lower? Would it work? Well, I think it would. It's okay. All right. And then I could go even lower perhaps. I'm designing within that shape, trying to find something interesting here. This way. Maybe create some folds there. Kind of make that, you know, maybe make the transition a little bit more interesting. Well, because if I connect him right here and put, you know, everything, how would I put this? One continuous kind of shape all the way here, it would be okay, but it feels like kind of boring to me. Well, maybe it's just me, I don't know. Maybe I should start with the boring things. And then move more towards that, you know, a little bit more refined. But then again, I spent a lot of time in that underdefined stage, so perhaps a little bit of experimentation with this wouldn't be that bad. Different folds, different movements. Well, maybe. Maybe. Push this more towards here, that hand. The hand is going to disappear slightly. Yep. Let's maintain this right here. And maybe push it a little this way. So it doesn't feel that it kind of sticks out too much. Okay, let's get I think this is okay when it comes to pigment. Let me see. Oh, there we go, the sun just went away. Well, you can see it probably on the through the camera how it's getting darker and lighter and darker and lighter. Depends on whether or not the sun is being behind the clouds or no clouds. Let me see how this works. Yeah, I think this is cool. I think this works. Let's adjust this. So I have I should adjust this a little bit more. That's what I think. This is what, yeah. This is what's causing trouble. This is what's causing trouble. This should go a little darker because there will be a little shadow there. So let's put it there. here to here. As a darker value. Yeah. And then I have to push this a little bit more. Let me just hit it with a little bit more, kind of a greenish here on the top. So soft edge. I want to keep that really soft edge there. That actually might work. A little lower. Let's put this a little lower so I can still see his beard and a little bit of the neck. And I'm, you know, again, this is all soft transitions there between. It's still visible, but I'm making it little softer than maybe that I want to. But that's the reason is because it would be easier for me to adjust it. So there would be, oops. Grab a little of this darker value here. So I would have this going like so in the background. All the way into the background. Like so. Then I have softer transition, creating a kind of an edge there, and then again bringing the light value right here in that sleeve, and it's emerging from here. So I'm trying to create a really simplified version of the folds because I don't want them to overpower other parts of the painting. Or actually not other parts of the painting. I don't want these folds and whatever is happening here overpower what I want to put here, because you know, as you can see, I already have some kind of idea how the clothes and how the folds in that kind of a garment are going to be formed. So I just need to put, you know, a little bit more detail there. Well, a lot of detail, but, you know, a little bit more work. A lot of work, actually. So I could push this maybe a little darker, which is that kind of a edge right here, and that might help this painting to be a little bit more interesting. You know, the little framing there, but then I'm afraid that it's going to fight with this part right here. Well, let's see, let's put it there. Let's see what's going to happen. Right, so he's like kind of framed from both sides right now. Approximately at the same spot. Well, maybe not. Maybe just me being a little too harsh. Okay, so I'll just push this a little bit. More as a top edge, or that, you know, the upper part. In this particular case right here, since this is I want to create very simple I want to create very simple garment, not garment, that's not even a costume. The very simple habit. I have to really, I'm annoyed. On the fact that it's going to be folded right there. I'm really annoyed on the fact that I don't know how it's called, a habit for the monks. It's here and then it goes here. The reason why I want that simplified version is that, well, I mentioned that so it doesn't fight with these faults right here, but in order to make it simple, I really have to work with silhouette. I really have to push the silhouette to the point that you will immediately associate it with that monk's clothes. And not only that, I want you to, think of this, I want you to see his body underneath that, right? So it's not just just like an empty. It has to go a little darker. It has to go a little darker. A little darker. So let me just. Yep. A little darker, a little lighter. I just want to create a little bit more of an interest there. Maybe I should put this a little bit more this direction. Let's see. creating very lost edge. That goes from, because I want to lost the edge from a cast shadow to a fabric, so it doesn't really fight with cast shadows on the main figures around the focal point. A little bit here as well. Soft edge, just a little crease. But I really don't want to have any hard edges there. So it's kind of merges together, and from a distance, it looks like there is a shift in the value. That's maybe a little even too much at this point. A little sharper edge there, just a tiny bit, to to give you some kind of a idea what you're looking at. And then if there is a fold right here, that's where the transition is going to be. Okay. And then maybe I can put a little bit more light. Right here, this is front, then here. I'm just trying to, design it a little bit with certain shapes, geometrical shapes. But right now I'm kind of copying that hand, so let me just maybe change that shape. I'm trying to create volume with that a little bit. And let me pump it with a little bit of this. Greenish hue right here. I don't think that you'd be able to even see these little shifts, but they are there, and they're helping you to decide, or decide. They're not helping you to decide. They are helping to turn the form a little bit more within the same value. Different saturation. Maybe one, two, couple folds right here. And again, I'm adding, I talked about this a lot, that when I'm designing or when I'm moving around with any object, whether it's imaginary or real, I need a bit of a, do I have a cadmium on my other palette? Not a tiny bit, let's grab it. this is not cadmium, this is vermilion. Okay, I want to show that neck a little bit more, so he doesn't feel like he doesn't have a neck, because he does. And then his skin tone, or rather his not skin tone, but the saturation of his skin. I wanted to bring the chrome a little bit more, so I can show the difference between fabric and his skin. So I moved that hand a little bit. So let's see, maybe I could just show a little bit, a little less perhaps. Maybe just right here. And then his hand is right here. Yeah, I think that would be enough of a hand. That's pretty cool. And you can see that I changed the position for the hands, or actually for the arms, because in here I have it up, but then I realized when I was painting this and this would, you know, repeat itself, and I didn't want that. And I already have this hand in the same position. It would be just too much of the same kind of a shape and direction. Yep. So let's just So I'm creating a little bit of a cast shadow there. So I'll show that, you know, that part it's laying on top of this, but I should probably add a little bit more of that light value. Maybe a little bit of here as well. And then yes, here on the top, right where his skin is, that's going to be a top value, and then maybe a little shadow right here. Where his neck is. Yeah, just a touch. Cool. And then this right here. And I have this right here, this right here, and right here. Let's put him that edge right here. Okay, and then okay, a little bit of this. And you can see that I am really just working on very simple. Very simple shapes. Working with very simple shapes. Very simple triangular shape, because I kind of, you know, look at those costumes that they wear, and they're very simple, very triangular to me. I don't know, I might be wrong, but that's how it feels to me. should push this a little higher. Maybe it should go this way. Let's see. Maybe I should put, a little belt around him as well, so I create some kind of a interest right here. I don't know. Not sure. Not sure. Okay. Less of that, yeah. It was simply too much there. But like I said, since I wanted to have it very simple, I need to find a really, really nice silhouette in order for this painting to work. And I'm really, let me check the mirror. Yeah, I think this is cool. The only thing I should maybe make less, yeah, let's adjust this a little bit more. It feels it's too light, way too light. So let me just, this is better. A little bit more of that yellow ochre. I could push it even lower, this side, maybe a little lower to create a little more of this kind of a shape. And I'm searching within to create something that I like to not only look at, but something that really, oops, was too much. Softer transition here. Cool, and maybe I could push this a little bit so it shows that it's illuminated by light there, and then maybe a little bit here. And it's only, you know, it's a simple principle, front plane, side plane, and top plane or bottom plane, depends on, you know, whether I'm looking from above or from below. So if I'm looking from below towards the, you know, towards, you know, I'm below the horizon line and I'm looking up, I would see the top plane, side plane, and front plane. And if I'm looking down, I would see top plane, side plane, and front plane. see here. No, it doesn't work that way. So I have right now multiple ideas, well, not even ideas, multiple ways. That will be probably the best way to explain this. How to create, well, how to make it a little bit more interesting. So maybe I should push this a little lower. And I'm really not afraid to move things around, because why should I? We're experimenting, we're having fun. I finally stopped talking that much, so you can focus on your own work. Yeah, maybe you should go darker. Maybe I should go darker. It's better right now. It's better, definitely better. Unfortunately, I don't know how to. Not unfortunately. Right now, I'm not sure how to deal with. How to deal with this area right here, and I think the problem is going to be, you know, in the main figure rather than in here, because I already, you know, think and move things around with. Oops, that needs to be darker. Darker and warmer, or I should say greener. I don't have a yellow ochre. Okay, let me just squeeze the yellow ochre there. That's way too dark. It's way too dark. So let's hit it with lighter value. That's not green enough. Yeah, better. Maybe I should push it lighter. Why not? Maybe even lighter. Let's hit it with that slightly greener desaturated gray. Yeah. Soft edge. Okay, cool. So that will be probably okay silhouette there, or shape, but I still feel that he's, no, this one is good. I think this is okay. Maybe his head is a little too big, or maybe a little too small next to this one, since I started to, wait a second, this is the head. Maybe right now his head is too big, or his torso too small. Maybe I should move the leg a little lower, so he appears bigger, slightly bigger. Or maybe I'll just adjust the head and make the head a little smaller. I'm not sure. Well, this is one of those decisions right now that I really need to address. yellow ochre into the game, because I feel that I'm missing yellow ochre. Do I have it on the other palette? I believe I do. Oh yeah, let's go. That's not enough. Let's make sure that I have enough yellow ochre, because yellow ochre is probably one of my favorite pigments. It's just pretty cool, and you can mix it into any color or any other pigment actually. And then I need to charge my camera. It's a little technical break. I'm not sure how long I haven't had a microphone attached. Hopefully you can still hear me. What is going on today with these technical difficulties? Boy, oh boy. Let me deal with this for a second. I apologize for that. I hope that the quality of the sound was not affected as much as I think it was. Oh boy, it's Monday, you know. What do you want me to do? Okay, so let's continue with this. I kind of like the movement, I like the position, but again, since I painted this in, I brought a little bit more detail, and I kind of lost that overall visual I think you should go a little darker, a little bit more saturated. That's just how I feel when I'm looking at this. Because even when you look on the camera, you would be surprised how orange, well, you can see it right now, how orange this is compared to my painting, how really, really orange that Rembrandt is. But of course, it's due to, you know, the yellowing of a pigment and the oil within the pigment. So it's understandable, but still. Still believable. So I'm going to try to push it a little bit more. Just give me a second. I'm just going to adjust that microphone so it doesn't go away again. Okay, I am sorry. I apologize for that sound issue, but my microphone just decided to do whatever it wants. So it has mind on its own. So I apologize for that. Hopefully you can hear me right now, okay? And let's get back to painting, because there's plenty of things that I want to address and adjust, and I'm in that stage that I'm pretty sure that you guys are already familiar with, either through the stream or directly from your own experience. It's just again, I'm trying to move and design within already existing composition, and something that might be something that might be okay, or actually, let me rephrase this. Something that I really like to look at, and I might like design-wise, does not necessarily need to translate very well into a overall composition. And I think that that's what kind of I can feel that I paint a little, like with some kind of uncertainty and kind of attentive approach to this. And it's almost like, because I know that I kind of like that position for him. I like that simplicity, but somehow that shape and then everything that is happening right here, it does not necessarily translate very well into the overall composition. And it might be because of multiple things. First, it's because I'm starting to add a little bit more detail, a little bit more focus. Therefore, it's starting to kind of break that overall continuity, because it feels like this is developed differently than this, than that. Whereas previously it felt a little bit more coherent due to that lack of due to that lack of resolvement. Due to well, if everything is unresolved and just painterly painted, right? Just like a sketch, then it's okay. The moment you start adding more and more details into it, you will run into really, really specific issues. Let me grab and you see me right now just going back and forth and thinking and trying to adjust. Well, I'm going to use a mirror again. Looking at that upside down. I have to go a little further. I'm sorry, I'm going to be out of the frame because I need to see the whole painting. But the composition looks fairly good. Not very good, but fairly all right. I have a feeling that they are moving forward. I have a feeling that maybe the only problem that I have is that the main figure might have I might have to probably make the main figure ahead bigger. And instead of shortening the arm, I might have made this a little bigger. Perhaps that was the play. Because right now, Well, this is interesting. This is the moment when you, well, maybe I could talk about this a little bit, because that's probably something that most of us experience, is that, you know, you can't really expect me to come to a studio at 8 a.m. as I usually come in and be creative 8:01, because that's not really how it works. And sometimes you have these creative moments or outbursts, and then, you know, sometimes they're not here. And I don't want to say that excuse me, I don't know what is happening today. My apologies. Where was I? Oh, I was talking about creative process. Well, let's put the gloves back on, and let's. Ooh, that's the last one. All right. So, let's do this. Let's just let's continue painting, and, you know, since this is, like I said, painting the scores, let's talk about this. Let's analyze, what do I think that is the problem. Well, first, let me push this little lighter. Let's just play with the ideas. Let's just play with the ideas of so I have my yellow ochre there. Maybe a little bit of this beautiful vermilion. Maybe I should push it a little more towards the green, a little bit more saturation. Okay, so I'm trying to make that background a little more interesting. So it seems, or appears at least, that it's part of that overall composition. And I want to have a nice variety in that. It's probably my favorite part about painting, that I can just throw paint around on the canvas enjoy um, enjoy how it works on its own. Need a little bit of that background right in his clothes because it's part of that, because the light reflects into it. So yes, we can assume that if this would be one well, in the vacuum, or in a space where, you know, we don't have any reflections, right? And this is illuminated by natural light, I would think of this as his garment as a dark orange, which is brown, right? But since we have a lot of things that are influencing this scene, well, I have grass or the ground that is reflecting into it. I have a surrounding figures with this blue, it's reflecting into it. I have a sky and sky dome that is reflecting into it. And I also have a direct sunlight that it's kind of changing and adjusting that. That is adjusting that color. So I'm thinking that I need to, not thinking, I know that I have to transition slowly from the light influence, which would be, you know, that kind of a lighter yellowish yellowish light interacting with orange, to transition all the way to the grass that is reflecting into that light, or the, you know, it's how would I even describe this? This is I don't want to say that it's complicated. It's probably complicated to describe, and I should leave this for another time. Perhaps that will be a better way to think of this. And maybe I could just put you know what? I should probably talk about this on the next digital painting stream. That will probably be a little better, because I like the way how I was able to what is the show and tell, that I was able to talk about it and show it simultaneously. So let's maybe put, okay, that's a little too warm. I want a little darker value. Let's throw that purple there. Let's see what's going to happen. All the way to here. So I'm going to create a little crease there. I'm going to pump up the saturation a little bit, and I'm going to introduce a little bit more of that, more values, or the broader range of values rather. So let me hit it here. Let me put a little bit here. And I'm going to use this as a half tone. bit of half tone. I want to create a little bit more interest in that shape again, because I was kind of feeling, well, this, it works, it doesn't, you know, it wasn't, I was not satisfied. So let's just, you know, have fun, experiment, you know, throw paint around again. Right now I do this, and I can push it maybe even more towards here, and then here as well, all the way. So I continue that path down. And then let me throw a little curveball there and turn it into a little green-orange. Little green-orange, and I should maybe push it right here. Right here. So I'm trying to create the little interest within. See, just that's that purple that I was talking about, that I think I was missing here a little bit more. Yeah. And again, I'm going to be, you know, even though I'm having fun with this, I still want to maintain a certain kind of a, I want to be mindful when it comes to placing these brush strokes, so they really help the painting rather than just randomly spreading. Okay, it might be reflecting a little bit too much for you. And right now it looks it's divided into two, you know, the light and dark, but I don't think about this as a light and dark right now. I think about this as a if you remember last time I was talking about that, maybe I could push it a little bit more here even. Last time I was talking about that, and when I'm talking about light and dark, it does not necessarily mean that it's light and a shadow. It's more of that abstract let's go right into this. Yeah. All right, so I just kind of soften it there. So I have differences within. So I have soft edge, I have a soft edge, I have a hard edge, I have a soft edge, and I have a hard edge again. Since I was talking about that Rembrandt so much. And he does this really masterfully. And maybe let's create this, and let's put a little bit more of that. Let's neutralize it even more. So I create a kind of a nice continuous transition. let's throw even lighter value there into the mix. Maybe that would be too much of a, again, too much of that distraction there. Well, let's see. Let's see how it will feel later when I will continue with. Well, let's just push it here all the way there. I'm softening these transitions a little bit. I'm trying to keep that. Okay, so it should go maybe a little bit more this way here, so it doesn't stick that out that much. Okay, so let's do that. I'm just, again, this is a stage. I get too much into that, like I focused probably too much on these details, and right now I want to keep it a little fresher, a little more, have fun with it, because I was looking at that and I was feeling that it's not really. I felt like it's not really. How would I put this? It felt stale. Machine made. I don't know how else to say that. So I want to bring a little bit more of that, kind of a freshness to it. that's better. Okay, yeah, that looks better. Not incredibly better, but it definitely is better. So, and that's let's make a little bit of that. That lost edge. I want to play with this a little bit. I just want to create, you know, a little bit more like an interest there. Something that, you know, dark value here. And no, like really no hard edges here. So I'm just, you know, I'm throwing it away and around and moving it back and forth. And I'm, you know, having fun playing around with pigment and paint and application. And I don't know necessarily if this is going to work, if it's going to help or make this painting worse. But I don't want it to be stale, because I think that's having a, you know, that kind of sterile painting. It's probably for me in terms of my own preference. It's probably worse than anything else with painting. Like if you don't feel joy looking at that, it's just, I think it defeats the purpose of painting. And I felt that my painting is stale, and I don't want my painting to be stale. Let's rather have it bad painting, really, truly. It's going to be bad painting. People are not going to like it, and that's okay. That's fine. I'm totally cool with it. What I'm not cool with is to having like a stale, meh painting. And let's hit this. A little bit more of a bring a little bit more of that saturation here on his right, so it just kind of yeah. And then maybe hit this with a little bit lighter value. Okay, maybe this should go a little more. Yeah, it's way better right now. Way more, you know. It's fresher. It's more alive, and that's what I was missing. It was kind of a really like a stale painting. I was adding more detail, and it did not really work very well. Unfortunately, I can't help it. So. I'm trying to hit that purplish that I was talking about. Or a hint of purple. a soft edge there. Okay, a little lighter areas right here. Let's just bring that. And a little softer. Still not what I'm looking for. It's better, but not what I'm looking for. It might be because I can't really see, not I can I know what's happening right here, but if you can't see it, it might be a little too much. And maybe I should leave it as it is right now and rather, because I know approximately where I am right now, and I like the color, I like the hue, but what I don't like is the fact that that main figure probably it's not resolved enough in order for me to continue with this. Because again, I'm trying to maybe adjust something that I don't have enough information. Well, I have nothing to compare it with. I don't know how far I want to push it. Yeah, that might be the problem. And then perhaps I could, grab another. Well, that's might be a good thing. I might grab another canvas, because what I'm trying to do is that I can't show this curvature enough because I have nothing to. How would I even put this? How would I even describe this? Maybe I should add even more of that. Maybe I should throw some neutrals around here and that might help. So it gets a little bit of that. And the reason why I want to throw these neutrals there is because I think that I lack a little bit of little bit of that kind of a believable hue right now. That's what I'm concerned with. A little bit more believable hue. It feels like it's it feels like it was painted how would I describe it? It feels like it was painted, like it's a different painting. Let's describe that crease there. Let's adjust that cast shadow. So I'm not going to have a cast shadow here because it's protruding forward. So it doesn't need to, and then it goes here. So I'm going to have just a shift in a value, and then it's here. So it's kind of continuous, but then it kind of feels that it's going this way and here into this. So I have to change this slightly. To connect it, okay. But then I don't want to lose that freshness there. And it kind of seems like it has the same color or same hue rather than then the leg. So let's fix that. Let's blow it up a little bit. Yeah, that's better. And this might be the, you know, some of you who work with that idea of that, oh, I'm going to put down all my shadows. You might be freaking out right now for me changing things around, moving it around. But, you know, I understand that's not probably the best way to approach final painting. But remember, this is not a final painting. This is just a sketch, big sketch, a fragment from the bigger painting that I want to work on. So I shouldn't be afraid to move things around freely, because then, you know, if I am not willing to move these things freely, I will really have a hard time to actually explore possibilities and maybe create something that it's worth to look at. And more often than not, that will be the case. Well, what I'm trying to say is that most of the time I don't get to liking what I see. So that is here, and then again be a soft transition here, like so. So you will see some shifts, some changes there, but they're not going to be so overpowering. Yeah, way better. It's still there. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm. What if I, because right now this shoulder and this shoulder are almost in the same. Wow. Mm. Green. Yeah, a little green. Yeah, this is way better. I like this more than before, even though it might not seem, um, even though it might look like I did not do anything, I still, or maybe, perhaps what bothers me right now is that um, this part does not represent, this part seems like it represents the torso, and if this represents the torso, then the head is way too big. That's what I'm seeing right now. So I have to probably push it lower and most likely make him a little taller if I want to maintain the size of his head. then another thing that bothers me right now when I'm looking at it, that they look very similar to each other. It's almost like this one is a version of him without the beard. That's how I feel right now. That might be something that bothers me most probably right now. And I'm sorry, I'm looking at that. Well, maybe he needs to blend a little bit more with the background. Maybe his head is too defined. Where do I have that? Oh, there it is. So let me think. Am I going to push it more towards that? I think what's happening right now in my mind, and I don't know, maybe you guys are experiencing the same thing, those of you who are watching this, that I already made up my mind that I'm going to just, paint over that head. I'm just trying to, not to convince myself, I'm just trying to find the courage to do that. So let's just do it. Let's just do it. Okay, let's just do it. It wasn't that bad, was it? Way better. I don't think that it's better, but it had to be done. He was simply too much. He was too much. He's still there. I still know I can still bring it back, but I don't want to as it is as right now. So and I understand that you might think that I'm crazy, but I'm not. I know what I'm doing. I had a feeling that something is wrong, and what would it say about my own work if I talk about, like, if you feel that something is wrong, it is wrong, and then you have to change it, and I had to change it. So right now it's not going to bother me as much. No matter how much you like what you painted, if it's in the wrong spot, if it's breaking that if it's not helping the composition for me, it's not worth to even. Like I said, I mean, there is nothing wrong to me, or nothing. There is nothing worse than a just stale, bland painting. I would really have a bad painting, rather bad painting than the stale. And I feel it okay, so let me clean it up a little bit more. Just in some areas. Don't worry. And yeah, I mean, you know, you shouldn't be afraid to do the same thing with your own painting or drawing or whatever you do for that matter. If you are not willing to do this, to change things that are not working for you, well, I don't think that you be able to improve. Because there's still, you know, if I want to bring it back, I still can, and most likely I will. So let's help him a little bit so you guys don't freak out when you do this on your own. Where's my, let's use this paper towel. I need something softer. So yeah, you don't need to be worried to do these things. It's not that, it's not end of the world. You just need to trust yourself that you're capable of painting another portrait, right? So if you are not capable of painting another portrait, well, then that might be the problem, but I doubt that you are that incompetent because you wouldn't be able to paint the first one. So instead of me trying to save, how would I put this? Instead of me trying to correct everything around that portrait and everything around that, you know, that silhouette work here and there and so on and so forth, just to cater to that obviously out of a place portrait, I just decided to change that portrait. That's it. Got to go. He got to go. And he went. And right now I can do a little scambling on top with a kind of a fresh pigment. And since he existed underneath there, you know, he's still visible, he's just not being in the face as much as he was. And maybe right now I can even, you know, change some unnecessary hard edges, because why do I have such a hard edges there if it's not close to my main focal point. And really, you know, I felt, and right now it's I think it's obvious even more that he was kind of sticking out as much as this guy, and you know, I have him here, and they're kind of fighting for attention. And if this is my focal point, I would rather push this guy a little more than this at the edge. It makes no sense for me to have him so defined in this particular setup, in this particular composition. Because here's the thing. If you don't like it, well, let me rephrase that. If I am not satisfied with the message that I'm trying to communicate with you, whether it's a composition or a story or narrative or whatever it is, unless I change it, nothing's going to really, it's not going to change itself overnight. That's what I'm trying to say. So I right now I'm trying to focus only on the area that it's the closest to us on his portrait. And he looks similarly desaturated and similarly a little bit pushed back in the background. Yep. And I can bring the lighter value right here as well. Show it a little bit more on that, on the lip right here. That's too much. Well, this is something that I really this is something that I was afraid to do in the academy, because if I would do something like this during the during the studio sessions, or while being in the studio, and master would see this, he would probably, I don't know, he would be mad. He would be pretty mad. But here's the thing, it had to be done. I don't care what you think, it had to be done. Simply had to be done. It didn't work. Oh wow, this is really dark valley. Really dark valley. So let's just bring a little bit lighter valley there. And the saturation. Because I want to have these shadows there. Yeah, cool. These lost edges here. I'm reinforcing the shadows, and I'm simplifying it. I think he was too defined, and I'm 100% positive that this is better right now. You might disagree with me, and I can't really do anything with that disagreement, but I wanted to say I know what I'm doing, but I don't. That's just, and then I realized, man, I don't think I know. So funny. just a touch, but I want it to be really soft. Alright, now it's just being annoying. Okay. So I throw him under the bridge. All right. Well, I did it. I think it's better. Well, maybe it doesn't. Well, how would I put this? Maybe. Maybe it doesn't feel that it's painted better, but I think it's better for composition, and that's what's more important for me than anything else. So I have this, and that, and maybe I could put his hand here. I don't know. Maybe. I'm still thinking. I think it would be cool to have his hand here, just showing, peeking through a little bit. How would it be? This way, this way. I think it might work. I think it might work, and it would create, it would destroy these continuous verticals that annoys the hell out of me. So I would just create a little interest between these two, like so. try to throw them there. Let me try to throw that hand there. I don't want to put it on the same. So if this one is here, right here, because it's in front, it would be somewhere here. Yeah, I think this is better. I think that the hand there, it's kind of a, it would be neat little touch that would break that, because when you look here, I have like a, like only clothes here, and it goes 1, 2, 3, and if I put something here, I would break that. I think I would break that, and then I need something a little light there. Yeah, some lighter value there. And it would, since I'm pushing it towards a little more orange hue, it's going to contrast nicely with that dark, with that light blue value. Yeah. Yep. But I think that it might have. Again, always about the proportions. Always about the proportions. Okay, so let's show this little piece right here. Just a bit, just a tiny bit. So then perhaps I can show a little bit of sleeve. So I could show a little bit of sleeve. Excuse me. I might be getting a little sick. I don't know. Hopefully not. Okay, so I'll bring that eye a little more forward. Cool. Cool. Yeah, I think I like hands there. I think that's really good. I think they're proper size as well. So if they would be here, they will be probably should be a little bigger, but it's okay because we don't see, so they can be really just hidden. And then when I'm going to be adjusting this area right here, I might actually, and maybe I can move the foot a little lower so I make him bigger. But it would definitely have to go lighter, most likely. Okay, let's look at this real quick, and let's think about it for a second. And this goes for okay. So since I'm getting closer to the point when the sun's gonna go away, I have to stop right here, right now. There's one thing that, you know, again, this is the end of the session. There is one thing that, if there is one thing that you can take away from this stream, would be the fact that there were things that I didn't like, so I changed them. I might not be very pleased with it right now, because I'm not sure if these adjustments were are going to improve and help the composition and overall painting at the end, or this is going to be one of those mistakes that it's a setback and I have to, okay, well, I made the rash decision and I have to repaint it back. I don't know it yet. It might be one or the other. I don't think that there is a middle ground between these two, but what is really the important fact is that, you know, I don't want to say that I was afraid. I felt that something needs to be changed. Something needs to be changed. Something needed to be changed. That's what I'm trying to say. Something needed to be changed. So I took this. I took a chance, and I kind of covered that face right before the end, so I could really look at it tomorrow morning and start figuring it out how to again bring it to the attention, but in a way that it's not going to fight against the focal point. That's one thing. The second thing is that I have to commit to a silhouette, but I cannot commit into this silhouette unless I know what's happening here, because this is a focal point. So probably I'm going to work on the sleeves and the arms of this figure tomorrow, because that's something that really need to be resolved. I started with that collar area, and it's not enough. It needs to go all the way down, so it needs to be finished, and that's probably going to be a plan for tomorrow. I shouldn't be touching anything else except this. Let's see if I can actually fulfill for once the the plan that I created. It's going to be definitely fun to see whether or not it will happen. So I hope to see you next time. Take care. Bye.